Hello. David Bradley from the box room here. As some of you may know, I've been working in the pet room to get the pet room ready for the family portrait. But anyway, I've also been in the basement. And I found in the basement something that I had remembered and kind of hoped I'd find. But I really didn't think things would come together and coordinate, that I would find them or find it at the right time. Let me tell you a little story. My father was an interesting character, and he was involved with all kinds of things at the church they went to, which would have been Fairlawn United Church in Toronto on Fairlawn Avenue. I think it's now Fairlawn Heights. And they did plays and things and stuff there. And, it wasn't like you just went to the stage company or whatever. Maybe you could. I don't know. Whatever. But they often would create things. Also, he was part of a group at Lawrence Park Collegiate Institute known as the Makeshifters. In my day at Northern Secondary School, it was called the Stage Crew. But the Makeshifters would, of course, do things at assemblies and do, whatever needed to be done. And, if something needed to be, made, they might do it. Anyway, they were a valuable part of the school, as in any school needs students to be involved in such things under, of course, appropriate adult supervision. Yeah. It's funny that brings up a story before I got to Northern Secondary School. I think in the year before, there was a bit of a kerfuffle with the stage crew, so I'm told. This is all legend. And that was that apparently in the crew room, which was up, basically you would go onto the stage, you would go over to the left side, you would climb up a ladder. At the top of the stairs, at the top of the ladder, there was where all the controls for the sound and the lighting were. And they had these massive breaker thing, not breakers there, but dimmer things, massive. And they could be controlled individually or joined together. But it's funny because I remember there was one fairly tiny girl who was on the crew, who I believe went on to become a doctor, maybe a pediatrician. But anyway, individually, these things they had some resistance to them. But when there was a thing at the end, you could join a whole bunch of them together if you needed to bring down a whole bunch of things. Well, basically, at the end of this one show, and it was time to bring down everything, and everything would be joined together, I believe she would sort of stand. I don't think it was a stool. It might have been a milk crate or something or other, and get all ready. And as it was time to bring the things down, she would sort of step off this milk crate and she could not pull them down, but the weight of her would slowly, gently bring down these massive things. Anyway, I digress. So, the story of the stage crew was apparently they had somehow gotten some sort of vending machine of sorts. And I don't know how they would have got it up into the crew room because it was a fair distance up a ladder. There was no stairs to get in here. A fair distance. But apparently this vending machine, which was I guess sort of like a Coke machine or something like that, had been equipped with beer. And apparently, I don't know how things happened. I was not there. I wasn't there yet. It was still before I got there. But apparently, one day in the midst of something or another, the principal came up the ladder and went into the crew room. And I guess not only did he find the machine, I think there were people actually in the midst of consuming beer in the middle of the school day. Anyway, things did not go well. I think there was a great purge of the stage crew. I think mostly it was the senior people. Anyway, things happen. Things happen, but that's part of, the joy of being a teenager. Adults try and keep us in line. We try and do what we can. And I think that the key to it is not to be destructive and not to be malicious, not to be whatever, but just be somewhat creative. And hope that you don't get caught. Anyway, so my father was a member of the Makeshifters at Lawrence Park Collegiate. That would have been from probably 1946 or so to about 1950 or 45 to 50 or something. Anyway, so I don't know where from this thing that I found in the basement is, but when I found it years ago when we were going through things and cleaning things up and sorting through things, I thought, right, I got to keep that because I have no doubt that he had made it. And I thought this would be a great thing to use when I shoot the family portrait. But I didn't know that I would actually find it. I wasn't in the basement looking for it. But I found it. Anyway, in the midst, and by the way, shooting the family portrait is not as easy as I thought it would be. But I'm getting there. Sort of, kind of. I have like a camera set up on a tripod, and I've got a wide angle lens, and I got everything in, but I just haven't found. I haven't found the way. I haven't found the spot. I haven't, and I want to be in there, but then it's hard to be in there. And the way I've been in there so far, it just hasn't. So everything is in there. The 39 pets. I think it's 22 dual drives. And other books and accessories and things are there. There's one printer. There may be another. Anyway, so but I remember once I did something before, and somebody commented on the picture. This is when I was just tinkering around, and I put something up. They said, "You need a key light." In other words, I don't think I was lit well enough. So, back at the church of, I was going to say St. Timothy, but that's not it. That's another church in the neighborhood. At the church, the Fairlawn United Church. And they put on plays and also things to do at the school with the Makeshifters. I would suspect that my father was involved in creating this. Now, what is this? Well, it's a can. He was always very good with cans and creating things out of them. Actually, after he died, we were at the funeral. I remember somebody said that he could do wonders with an apple juice can. And actually, when they were doing the CN Tower, they were sitting in a meeting because he was involved in the CN Tower was built for telecommunications, and they had to do these big cables and things, and this was stuff that hadn't been done, so there was a lot of inventing involved. Anyway, there was something they were talking about, and I did see pictures of, I think, because they couldn't just have the cables hang, they had made these things where the cable would come down and then wrap around the thing. I'm not sure how many times, and then go down and wrap. So there wasn't the tremendous stress on the cable, but there was something they needed, and they were talking about for these things. And I wish I knew the story firsthand, but anyway, my dad, who always carried like a CN briefcase thing, which from what I remember, Jim Butterfield said that they were legendary for, they would hold, I think, a 12-pack of beer quite nicely. Anyway, so in this big committee meeting, and they were talking about this thing and how they're going to get these things, and I don't think they needed tons of them, but it would be thousands or tens of thousands or who knows what. Apparently my dad was down at the end of the table somewhere, and he, reached down into his bag and got out his tin Snips and took some sort of a soft drink can from the table. I guess they had refreshments at the meeting, and he didn't make a big fuss, but he just sort of turned and sort of went at this can with the tin snips, which are basically like big scissors that will cut metal of some thickness, and certainly a soft drink can is not very thick. Anyway, so as they're talking about this and who they're going to get to make it and how it's going to da-da-da-da-da-da, he turns around, plops down his creation that he has just done with his tin snips, and says, "You mean something like this?" And the Lieutenant said, "Oh, yeah." He says, "How many do you need?" And I did see somewhere amongst pictures from the CN Tower, I did see somewhere or another where they had this thing where the cable comes down and wraps around and does its thing and goes down, and I'm sure there was a bunch of them along the way. There was a soft drink can. Now, I didn't know anything about it, that story at the time, but I was thinking, oh, that's interesting. Anyway, so things happen. Anyway, this is a Hot Shot antifreeze can, or it was long ago. On the side here is a little thing that it could be mounted onto something, and on the front there are 3 wires and little clips, and inside is a bulb. Now, the bulb I put in, it is a modern LED bulb, but anyway, this would have been a light, and I can tell just by seeing the way the wire is twisted and everything that he did this. Anyway, the light. Oh, and there's and there's at the bottom. There's that where the wire, and here's the old wiring, and the plug that's still just fine. Anyway, so of course there would be. You'd have to have, like, these wires would hold probably some sort of a lighting gel. And here's little clips to help. And they might have had some kind of, I don't have the metal thing that they might have used for it, but also it would probably have gone in and then gone under the wire and over the wire and whatever, how it went. But of course, you had to leave room to be able to stick your hand in to get the bulb in. And of course, the wires are spread just perfectly that you can do that. Anyway, this Hot Shot antifreeze boil resistant can from I don't know when, Gritterham and Worts Limited. Warehouses from coast to coast. Methyl hydrate. Poison. This I will use. I don't know if it won't be seen, but this will be used in the distance to light me up in the family portrait. It will. Hot Shot is safe. When mixed with an equal quantity of water, will protect to 30 degrees below zero, yet its boiling point gives a wide safety margin above normal operating temperatures of an engine. Anyway, so there is some history. I would suspect this thing was probably created in the 1940s, maybe the 1950s, or probably the 1940s, and may have been used at Lawrence Park Collegiate or something, and it may have been used at Fairlawn Yellow Church, or it may have been used at both. I don't know, and I don't know how many they would have made, or if there are others. I only remember one. I do. Anyway, I will use it when I shoot the family portrait. I shall. Ugh. So, that's about all I have to say about that. And actually, another thing, I may at some point, because sometimes in here, like I've got the light from the room. It's way up above. I've got a light up there that's really bright, and I have another light over here. That it's funny how you get it in just the right place. It doesn't mess with the recording. In other places, you get this line. So I got it just so. But who knows? Once I'm done there, I may affix this somehow, probably using an X10 module to turn it on and off, that it might light me better in here. I wonder. I wonder who. And who knows, maybe I'll put a gel in it and make it a different color. Or if not a gel, certainly, like in the movie industry, of course, they never just put up a light. There's all kinds of things to do to the light. Probably there's a color or something to spread the light out or something. Now the cord on this is not that long. It is not. I'm sure they had extension cords, but if I lay this down, whoop, it kind of slipped. And you know, somewhere I have some cool. I have some old lighting stands, and I'm sure this was made to go on that. Anyway, there. I'm lit. Better. There it is. So yeah, maybe I'll look for. And I know in the garage I have some gel things, different colored things. I'll see about this. Oh, another thing on movie sets and things, they have flags because we want that light, but they don't want all of it. They don't want it just flooding an area. So they'll have these things that literally they put in front. Where am I doing that? Oh, like there. They might say, okay, we want half his face lit. Well, that's kind of, anyway. So they'll have all these things. It's incredible to see all the things that they have in the lighting department. Anyway, maybe for now, because I can, and it's there, maybe I'll just leave this here. I can probably turn this other thing off, because it's a hot little bulb, and I really haven't been incredibly pleased with how it works. This thing, but it does something, but this I think does better. So, anyway, I will get back to sorting out the family portrait. It's, you know, people think, oh yeah, just shoot it, it's fine, yeah, but there's a lot more involved in all of this. And I'm thinking now I do want to adjust some of the pets on the floor. Right now, I've got a whole bunch on the back wall, and there's some on the floor that are facing sideways, and I'm really thinking I want them to turn and be lined up kind of symmetrical with the ones in the back wall. I do. And then I have to figure out where I'm going to be, how it's going to work. And of course, no matter where I am, I'm going to block the view of some of the stuff. Oh well. That's the way the cookie crumbles. So another thing I'm going to do right now, I think, because I kind of forgot about this, is there's some more manuals, pet things that I will take downstairs. And even though they won't all play, it's not about seeing each one. It's about, oh, look, there's a big pile of things. And there, as I said before, there'll be several versions of this picture. And I am going to, once I get the basic one done, then I will take some Commodore 64 boxes. Ooh, look, there's one right there. Oh, and other things, and sort of put them on top of things. And even though this is the pet room, it's also the Commodore room. Oh, the other cool thing about this is I was able, it's not a harsh LED bulb. I don't know what the wattage or the simulated wattage is or whatever, but it's pretty dim. And it doesn't take a whole lot. Like if it was too bright, it would be overpowering. We don't want that. No, we don't want that. Anyway, well, I have an appointment today, so I best hurry up and carry on with this and take the stuff downstairs. I think I'll leave this light sitting here for a while until I'm ready. But I need to get ready. I need to get it done. I do. So, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you again. That's one thing about this fake microphone here. I have a hard time reaching around it to turn it off. Ooh.
That was easy.
Bye for now.